Welcome back to Metals, Money, and Markets, week ending August 18th, 2017. With me, as always, Mickey Fulp, the Mercenary Geologist, and from miningclips.com, I'm Rob Goodman. Well, Mickey, a rough week, a lot of terrorism, and then today, Bannon leaves the Trump White House. Seems like a lot of chaos. Markets were up and down. Some recovered, some didn't. Let's get right into it. The metals, topsy-turvy week.
Yeah, certainly was. Turmoil in the Trump White House, terror attacks, which you mentioned. Fed came out with a weak inflation projection. That led to gold having a very topsy-turvy last 3 days. It went from 1269 to a high of 1299 briefly this morning and promptly fell back to 1285 for a $4 loss on the week. Silver, much the same story, 16.99, 11-cent loss. Platinum lost $5 on the week. The patterns for these three metals was basically the same over the last 3 days. Meanwhile, palladium had a great week, up 3.5% to 916 for a 16.5-year high, Rob.
And meanwhile, copper keeps up that strong trend to the upside.
Certainly did. Hit highs not seen since December of 2014. Hit an intra-week high of 295, I think, on Wednesday. Closed at 293, up over 1%. Resistance remains very strong at $3. And you got to go back to November of 2014 before we've seen these sort of levels before. It's really hedge fund driven, Rob. There's a report $20 billion of hedge fund money is poured in the copper market over the last couple of weeks.
Moving on to energy, both in the red here this week.
Yeah, shale production is up, but the rigs have flattened off. It looks like shale producers have locked in futures at about $50. So oil reacted down, 17 cents to close at 48.62, but that's a rally from intra-week lows. U.S. inventories have fallen for the last 7 weeks. And get this, Rob, this is important for oil markets, I think. Brent crude is now in backwardation. We haven't seen this for several years now, which means it is negative for storage of any oil. And so it indicates that deficits are coming, or at least that surpluses have been worked off. Meanwhile, uranium closed at 20.85, down 15 cents.
And moving on to currencies, the dollar ends up, but took it in the shorts today.
Yeah, it was a really quiet week for the currencies, all kind of range bound. Dollar ended up 93.41, up 0.4%. Euro basically flat at $1.18, although it lost 0.5% for the week. The big winner, I think, is Loonie at 0.795, 0.8% gain. Basically, dollar and Loonie have been in March step for the last couple of weeks.
And finishing up on the markets, as mentioned at the top, a lot of turmoil. These things were all over the place. Dow tried to recover, but a lot of red here.
Yeah, it's been 3 days with all the things going on with the media against Trump weighed heavily on the markets. It's become a risk off over the last 3 days. Dow ended up at 21,675. Lost 0.8%, 24.25 for the S&P 500, down 0.7%, and 62.16 for Nasdaq, down 0.6%. The VIX has been at 14 over the last 2 days. All these markets tried to rally on the information that came out late morning that Bannon was leaving the White House, but they gave up all their gains in the last couple of hours.
And last but absolutely not least, the venture actually had a pretty solid week.
Yeah, it was a tick up with volumes up, including the first 100 million share day on the venture exchange itself since the GDXJ rebalance in June. I went back and looked, and we've only had 11 100 million share days all year, so it's still not a lot of interest in this market. But, we're, 3 weeks away from Labor Day, and once that happens, we expect interest to pick up.
Well, we'll certainly look at the news wire and keep our eyes peeled. So appreciate the knowledge, Mickey, and look forward to talking with you next week.
Thanks a lot, Rob.